Hello, my name's Beth Burgess from Smiles Coaching, and today I want to talk to you about the phrase "I can't," which I think is an overused phrase. People say it almost without thinking sometimes. It can be used to hide a fear or a belief or just lack of resources, really. But people say it far more often than they actually have to, I think. So what we're going to do today is just unpick, if you've got an "I can't," we're just going to sort of unpick the various things that might be leading you to say that when actually it's not true. So it's a little mini coaching session for you. Okay, so first one we're going to look at, there's different areas which fit into the "I can't" and telling yourself it. So the first of which is environment. Now, it might be that you can't do something yet, or you can't do something in a certain place. There might be certain limitations of where you are. So let's just think of an example. Okay, let's say giving up smoking, for example. So what are the if you wanted to give up smoking, what might be the external constraints? Rather than saying "I can't do it," have a look at what things. So for example, say your environment could be living with someone else that smoked. So that's something you could consider. Is there a way I could give up smoking if I was in a different environment? Or timing-wise, is it the wrong time? So, for example, you know, I don't know, maybe you're going through a particularly stressful time in your life and you haven't dealt with that at the moment, and it's just not the right time to give up smoking. So just sort of, you know, start digging away at that belief that you can't do it, and just sort of think, actually, is there a possibility I could do it if I changed some things in my environment? So that's the first sort of way. I just want you to sort of develop some flexibility of thinking here. So the second thing we have to look at is our behaviours, and looking at how they might actually stop us from doing something and lead us to say "I can't" when actually it's not the case. So for example, I know a lot of people say it's really difficult to give up smoking after certain things. So maybe, I don't know, if you're drinking or something on a regular basis, a lot of people find it difficult to give up smoking in that environment. So are there other behaviours that you can alter in order to, you know, enable you to do this thing? Or are you just saying "I can't" again as an excuse? So that's another important thing. Look at what your actions are. Could you change any of those actions to turn that "I can't" into an "I can," actually? Another one, a really important one, is resources. A lot of people discount the fact that they can do things because they haven't got the resources. So they immediately say, well, that's it, I can't do that. But you can get resources, you know, you can always get support and help with things. You know, whether it's asking someone else, asking for advice, learning more things. You know, it could just be a lack of knowledge that's allowing you to do something. So, for example, okay, again, let's go for give up smoking. You could say, well, I don't know how to. You know, I don't know what's the best way for me to do it, or I've tried X, Y, and Z, but what's the alternative? So in that case, you just need to find out more information about it. Or do you need support? Do you need to go and see a professional about it? You know, it's another thing that, you know, don't just say "I can't," just look at what it is that you need to learn or to do or to get in order to help you do that. So maybe, you know, maybe you need to buy an e-cig or something like that, I don't know. But there will be options if you sort of unpick that. Okay, so another section to look at is your capabilities. Now, a lot of people, this is where people get stuck. They believe they can't do certain things, and capabilities are sort of linked with beliefs as well. We'll go on to that more fully in a minute. But you know, people say, "I'm not patient enough to give up smoking," or "I'm not, you know, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough." But skills are things you can develop, and they're things you can learn. So again, it's not an adequate excuse to kind of just say, "Well, I can't do it." You know, it's a case of looking at actually what can I change so I can do this. And you know, some of them will be things that you need to learn more about. So yeah, developing inner resources, that can really help. So yeah, moving on to beliefs. Now this is probably the thing that stops people doing things the most. A lot of the time, the beliefs inside you are what stop you from doing things. And that can be fear. Fear could stop you. It can be beliefs about yourself, maybe negative beliefs. Again, maybe you don't believe you have capabilities that you actually do have. So, for example, so let's go for stopping smoking again. So, a lot of people, they just can't see themselves, maybe, without, maybe it's been a part of their life for so long that they don't quite accept their identity without smoking in it. Which is, it's just, it's a particularly crazy belief, actually, because no one ever has one identity. We all sort of change over time, we learn new things, we become different people. No one's ever a fixed person. So, and people will tell themselves things as well, like, oh, I'm not good enough to do that, or I'm not smart enough to do that, or I don't deserve this. A lot of people do that when they fall back on bad habits and behaviours. They say, oh, I don't deserve any better. And it may be something you've not even done consciously, but it's happening way in the back of the unconscious. So have a look at that. Beliefs are things you can actually change. I know they seem the hardest things to change, and they often are. But if you work with an NLP practitioner like me, or a coach, then those are things that you can change. There are techniques to help you to change those things. So that's a really important one. Now, when you've gone through all of those things and sort of worked out what about your environment, what about your behaviour, your resources, your capabilities and your beliefs do you need to change? If you've done as much as you can in those areas and you're still feeling kind of stuck, a really important way of getting yourself motivated to change that, I can't into I can, is to look at the bigger picture of it. So if there's something you do really want to do, look at actually why you want to do it. What will it mean for your life? Is it part of some mission that you've got? Is it part of some vision? Is it, something that will help your identity? For example, okay, back to giving up smoking. What does it mean if you do give up smoking? Does it mean that you'll be a healthier person? Does it mean that, you'll be someone that takes care of themselves? Does it mean you'll be able to do a whole load of other things? Say, running around with your kids, or, becoming more socially, acceptable. We're all lepers these days as smokers. Yeah, I mean, look at what it really means. Does it mean that you'll be achieving something? And this is what you want to look at to see, actually, how strongly do you want to overturn that I can't? Because some things we say I can't, and actually they're not that important to our lives, so, it doesn't matter. But some things really are, and it's by looking at what is the motivation for turning that I can't into an I can. And the more you can build up that motivation and really recognise what it is and how it will help you in your life, the more determined you'll be to change all those other obstacles, to try and find ways of getting over them. Okay, so as I was saying, there's a few things that, genuinely you can't do. I can't fly, for example. I'll never be able to. And so I accept that, and that's fine. But, if you ever find yourself saying I can't about something which isn't sort of physically impossible, then do start to question it. Question actually if there's things that you can do to change that into an I can. Alright, that's all for today. I'll pop the website below and look forward to talking to you again. Alright, take care. Bye.